Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. So in today's video I'm going to be explaining the web version of the fractals. Now the web version is just the same as the normal fractals, but there are some features that are a bit different and some are already explained to you guys in another video. So let's jump right into it. So first of all, you need to put in your username that must be provided to you, and also the password that you need to update every single month as provided by our team. So I'm putting mine right here. Now as I put in my details, it's gonna load for a second and then it's gonna give me the confirmation to enter the symbol so that I can actually look at the charts. Now here, just for example, I'll be looking at QQQ, so I'm going to type in QQQ in the section of symbol, and there you go. Okay, so we have the fractals open right here. Now you must have noticed that this fractal system is just the same as the normal fractals that we have inside the RDP. There is not much difference, but there are some cool features that you need to know about. For example, if you want to zoom in into a particular area inside of this chart, you can just do by using the scroller inside your mouse. Like right here, I'm going to use the scroller and here I can zoom in into the chart like this. And let's say that you want to zoom in into a particular area on this chart. For example, right here. So I will move my cursor right here and then use the scroller to zoom in. And you can see I am able to zoom in into that particular part of the chart. Okay, this was very cool according to me. Like it just makes it extra like convenient, because now I do not need to use this scroller. I can actually just look at the particular area I want to look at. For example, if you see any kind of trend line or any kind of reoccurring pattern that you might have noticed right here or in the past, that you can actually notice by zooming in. So now I'm gonna right click right here so that I can look at all these features. Now some of these, the names are changed, but they work just as the same inside of the normal fractals. Russell works very hard and the team also works very hard to actually make this system for you. Now Russell needs to actually import all the normal fractals into the web version, like right here. So this is the beta version of the fractals. Okay, this is not the complete web version. There's like very less features in it right now because there's a lot of work needed to be done on it. So first of all, we have the symbol list. Now this is like a default list provided to you guys that you can actually use for other tickers rather than like typing it in right here and then choosing from here. Some are already provided as a default. Okay, now the next thing is the graph reset. For example, if I zoom in right here, right, and now I want to just reset my chart, I can look at the graph reset and just click on it. There you go. So my graph just got reset. Next up is the graph zoom in. Now I can zoom in to the maximum or near maximum, like right here, using the graph zoom in feature. Okay, so that is also pretty cool that we did not have inside of the normal fractals. Next up is the graph type. You can actually choose between the linear graph or the fractal graph. This right here is going to load the linear graph that you might have also seen on the fractals, that is present right here in the bottom area. You have the option for also the linear graph and the fractal graph. Now here we have the wave 10 1 minute linear graph. Now here the vector you see is just the same for the wave 10 1 minute that you see in the normal fractals, and it can also be seen right here. I'm going to move back to the normal fractals, the fractal graph. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to talk about is the wave. Now wave number, it is just giving you extra feature that you can change the wave number right here to wave 7, wave 3, wave 20, wave 50. Like these are the common ones. And then we have the aggregation, basically the time frame, the hourly time frame, the 30 minutes time frame, 15 minute, 5 minute, and 1 minute. And next up we have the days to load, that how many days of data do you want to look at. Next up we have the wave statistics. You might be thinking that this is very new, but it's not. So this wave statistics is just the same as the options analyzer. Okay, for example, it tells me the odds of H1 forming when we transition above the pivot is 100%. For H2 it's 58%, and then H3 it gets below 50%. that is 43%. Okay, now you must be looking at it and it feels to you that, yo, this is just the same as the normal fractals like the options analyzer, and it is. The one thing it is doing extra is that it tells you that till what high or low value we have 50% chance or greater to achieve. For example, it tells me that when I see a bullish transition, there is more than 50% probability I see H2. So, does that give you a good confluence to actually buy calls? Well, not really, because it's telling you that the um, bullish cycles are actually shorter than the bearish cycles, because for the bearish cycles it's at L4, which means that the bearish cycles are more stronger and they sustain more compared to the bullish cycles. So this was all about wave statistics. Next up we have the wave histogram. So wave histogram is also there in the options analyzer that you have inside of the normal fractals. It's looking at all the highs and the lows and just presenting them in the highs and the lows like presented right here. For example, first of all it's showing H1, then the formation of L3, then the formation of H2, just like the charts right here. So it's just, you know, looking at those sequences of the highs and the lows and trying to show them in a form of a histogram, like the H53 right here, shown right here. Then we saw H1 seen right here, right? H53, then H1. So this is also seen on the fractal chart. You can see right here, right? So this was all about the wave histogram. And next up we have the wave time distribution. Now the wave time distribution, I have already made a video on it explaining the whole feature, so that video will play out for you right now.
And go to the wave time distribution. Now here, mark that we are using the wave 10-15 minute, 10 days to load for QQQ. I go to the wave time distribution. Here, we have it. Now first of all, we are going to understand that what's really going on in there, okay? I'm not going to make it complicated for you. Simple. We have the pivot right here, and above the pivot, what do we see? Highs, right? So it's showing all the highs above the pivot and all the lows below the pivot. Make sense? Now what does it actually do? Basically, it just combines time and all the highs and lows that forms on your chart to give you some actual reversal data. I'm going to make that simpler for you. It basically shows the time where the L formed and the H formed. Okay, let's just crack one and make it easy for you. Here it's showing that a L value formed at around 9:30. It doesn't matter, it's L1, L2, L3. It's just showing you that a L value formed. And then it's showing you, follow that ray. It's a green ray, means it's a transition from below the pivot to above the pivot. Make sense? Right? So it's showing that the low of the cycle formed at 9:30 and then the high formed at around 11. Right? I'm using it as an estimation at around 11. So let's just see on our chart where it actually formed. It's actually pretty much visible right here that the low formed at 9:30 and the high formed at around 11. Right? So it's showing all these transitions on a simpler chart to actually find out the particular timings for reversal. Okay, let's just use another example, but a more of a bearish one. Okay, so let's just track this one. Here it's showing that we should be seeing a reversal at around 11, right? And if we follow this ray, it's closing around 12. Okay, let's just track that on our chart. Here you can see that the high, actually they're very like adjacent, right? So the high actually formed at around 11 and the low of the cycle formed at around 12. Okay, so I hope so now it's clear that how these rays are actually formed. Now you must be wondering that how will it be actually useful? You know, on normal charts we have these clusters. So what do they actually represent? They are showing that a lot of times the market reversed from that area, right? Now it is pretty similar on this chart too, right here. You could see that it's showing you a window that around 13, which is 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. is a window for reversal, right? A window for reversal from above the pivot. It's just showing you that, right? It's kind of a cluster. It's showing you that, okay, you're trading XYZ day. Now you are looking for a reversal timing. And let's just say you're on a contract and you want to be sure that, okay, here my contract can go bad. So what are the timings I should be worried about? It's 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. for the past 10 days, wave 10-15 minutes. It is just showing you that. Now you must be wondering, what is this L line right here? It is basically showing you that right now the market is forming a L value. Right here you can see, right? And also showing you the timing. Okay, it is pretty simple, and I've been using this tool for the past 5 days, and I'm very much enjoying it, and it is very accurate. It can give you a very good estimation if you're an intraday trader. What are the timings that you should be worried about, and what are the timings you should focus on to trade reversal or even continuations. Now, you must be seeing that some rays are actually going back in time. So what do they actually mean? Okay, let's just track this one. Okay, this one right here, it is going back in time. Okay, it is not actually going back in time, but I'm going to make that clear for you in just like 1 more minute. Okay, right here we can see that the reversal formed at around 45, 245 or 3, somewhere near that, right? And the high of that cycle formed at around 2, correct? Now let's just see where that actually formed on our chart and what does that actually mean. Okay, now right here you can see that the reversal happened at around 1445, which is like 245, right? And then the reversal happened, and the high of the cycle from the low, from the trough right here to the peak, right? The high of the cycle formed at around 1345 to 2, right? Something like that. Now you can actually see that it did not actually go back in time, but it's actually showing you that the cycle actually formed for multiple days. Make sense? I hope so. Now this is all about the wave time distribution. That is all it does. There is nothing more complicated about that. It is pretty much common sense that, of course, if you see a bullish transition right here, of course you're going to see a bearish one too, right? Because the cycle has to end. There has to be some kind of fractal pattern forming, right? So it is very easy to understand what's really going on here if you just look at it for 1 to 2 more times, and if you rewatch this video, it will all make sense again. Okay, now I'm gonna just tell you what these buttons right here actually do. Toggle red basically removes all the transitions from above the pivot to below the pivot, right? That's a bearish transition, so it's marked with red. Now this is a bullish transitions. Okay, these are all bullish transitions where the market moved from below the pivot to above the pivot. Makes sense? The market first from a low of the cycle, then from the high. So it's a bullish cycle. I hope that makes sense to you. Now we can actually have the cycles for particular timings. For example, right now the market is near 13, which is 1 p.m. So I just want to look for that here. So it's pretty simple that I can actually find out that, okay, if the market is forming lows, there was a probability near 1 o'clock that we could have seen like a transition above the pivot, right? The market could have moved from a low to a H value. Okay, so that is all that you need to know about this tool. It is very, very easy to understand if you watch it again, if you haven't understood at once. I hope that you have a great day ahead, and all of you, please take care. Have a good day.
I hope that the wave time distribution actually was pretty easy to understand and the video did the job. Next up we have the settings. Now settings, I'm going to be explaining them very slowly. Okay, first of all we have the show HNL, that you want to see that whatever high or low we are forming, so it's like just marking them out, right? You can see it right here. So we can see that this is a high, this is a high, this is a high, this is a low, this is a low, this is a low. Next up we have the show HNL value, shows the value of the highs and the lows, for example h1, h2, h3. Now this is already explained in many of the videos we have made, that how these highs and lows are formed inside of the fractal chart. So you need to check out the fractal mastery video that we made recently. That will provide you a great basic understanding of the fractal chart and also like other tools inside of the system. Show HNL dollar value. So it actually shows the value that, for example, at this H2 right here, what was the dollar value. So it tells you that at this H2 right here, the value was 600.78, right? So that is all it's trying to show. Next up, we have the show HNL time of the day. So it tells you that at what time the high and that low was actually formed. Next up, we have the show HNL day of the week. For example, like at what day was that high or low formed. This, for example, this high was formed on Friday recently, because we are looking at wave 10 1 minute chart. So like before this yellow line, we're gonna see for Thursday, okay, because this yellow line actually marks the end of the session or the start of the new session. Show HNN dollar change, basically, sorry. So what it actually does is that it takes the H value, for example it is $600, and the low value, which is $596. So it subtracts that value and gives you the value $4 at the high, like right here. So it tells you that if I subtract this from this, I'm gonna get $2, if that makes sense. Next up, we have show HNL percent change. So it just like just the same as the show HNL dollar change, and converting that according to the QQQ current price into the percent change. Show HNL low price. So basically what it does is that it shows the high and the low for every single candle. It makes your chart a bit messy, so I usually keep it off. So next up, we have the show percent odd. So what it actually does is that, example, we are at the H16, right? And now you're wondering what's the probability of forming the next high. So it tells you that probability, basically, okay? For example, at this H1. Now you're wondering that what's the probability of forming H2, right? So it tells me it is 58%. Even though it did not form, but it did tell me that the probability of that H2 forming was 58%. Now you can also confirm this using the wave statistics right here. Now you can see for H2, 58%, it's matching. So definitely this is a useful tool to have inside of your fractal charts, rather than like just opening the options analyzer again and again to look at the probabilities. Next up, in the settings, we're gonna have the show ceiling and floor metrics. Now this is really cool according to me, because I wanted this since forever. Okay, now what it does is that it actually visualizes the ceiling and the floor on the fractal chart. Only visualizes, okay? This is not the actual value of the ceiling at the close, okay? This is not the value of the floor at the close, okay? Then like looking at this does not show that like price went below this floor. It only shows the plotting of the ceiling and floor. You still need to look at the OMM or the DMM to look at the actual value of the ceiling or floor. I hope that makes sense. This is just for plotting out the behavior of the ceiling and floor, so that you don't need to look at the DMM query again and again. Now you can understand that, okay, so the ceiling is falling even though the floor is remaining flat. So we can see less volatility, or more like consolidation, that we saw right here. I hope that makes sense. Next up, we have some beta features that are not active right now. Now this is imprints, hide imprints when price moves beyond. So basically we have these imprint bands, basically cluster areas that the system is trying to show that market can take support or resistance from, like right here. Now it's gonna hide those imprints when I click on this thing right here. See, price moves beyond all these imprints, so it's gonna hide the green support. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Next up, we have the show S/R dots state machine, basically the open state and the closed state. Next up, we have the color candles by the vector. When the price is above the vector, it's gonna color all the candles green. Okay, so that is all it does. And then same is for below the vector. For example, like price is below the vector right here, so it's gonna color them all red. Okay, next up we have the show probability bands. Now these are the same probability bands from the normal fractals that we have. Okay, next up we have the data settings. So show primary data, this is the primary data. And then next up the interlaced data. Now for the interlaced data you need to zoom in. Now this is just the same as the normal fractals. The vector challenge actually is something new, and I've already explained this, but I'll explain it again. So what it does is that I'll take a clear example. Okay, example is gonna make more sense. Whenever price tests the vector above the pivot, above the vector, it tests it, so it's gonna mark that as 1. And the next time it does the same, it's gonna mark that as a 2. And when the next time it does the same, it's gonna mark that as a 3. So basically it just shows that at what places did the market test the vector. Now what is like testing the vector mean? Testing the vector is actually testing the macro bias. Okay, what do I mean by that? When the price is above the vector, it means the price is bullish, and when the price tries to test it, it's testing the macro, or not the macro but the overall bias, right? Now here at this third test of the vector, we saw that we had a transition. So here our macro changed. I hope that this makes sense to you. This is a pretty simple thing. Show short challenge. Basically short challenge, what it's trying to say is that when the price is above the vector, it's acting as a challenge for the short side, because it's not letting price go down, right? It keeps acting as a support. Same as for the show long challenge. When the price is below the vector acts as a resistance. Like right here you can see at this test we saw resistance, right? I hope that this makes sense. Show horizontal lines. Basically these horizontal lines are from this part right here, this 0.4%, 606.76. Just for visualization, it's going to mark that on your chart. So this was all the basic stuff that one needs to understand about the new system, right? Also you can also like just change the symbols. For example, I want to look at Apple, I can also do that, and it's going to load that chart from me right here. So this is the Apple chart, wave 10 1 minute. I hope that this makes sense to you guys. And also one more feature we have is the automatic updates of price. So for that I will run a small recording in front of you guys so that you can actually see that how it actually looks like. The live updates is also a very good tool to have inside of the Fractal chart. So I hope that this video actually made you understand all the basic stuff about the web version. Now you can actually just log in if you have the login for your normal fractals, and then just enjoy the web version that is already provided to you in the UAT chat. Thank you so much. Have a good day.